lucky to have her, and Jimmy's a lucky man. I wish my wife had a machine shop and a pub. Unfortunately, Senator Crapo couldn't make it tonight because I was looking forward to telling the story about how about 10 years ago when my son was 18 years old, he was in a shooting competition with Senator Crapo. He and I and Senator Crapo had this move and shoot. And Senator Crapo came in third, and my son came in second. I came in first. And as we're driving home, I turned to him and I said, "This is pretty cool. We're living in Idaho where an 18-year-old can beat his U.S. senator in a shooting competition." And years later, about three years ago, Mike was kind enough to give my son at a Lincoln Day, just before he went off to Marine boot camp, he gave him a send-off. And now I'm proud to say that my son, who is a tank commander and had a meritorious promotion 2 months ago to sergeant. So the good Senator Jim Risch is here tonight, and I would like him to come up to the podium and give us a report from the U.S. Senate. Jim?
Tempted to make this really, really short and say it's a mess, but you probably already know that. I bring you greetings from your First Lady. She's got the grandkids tonight, and you get me. Vicki and I celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary last June. If Vicki were here, she'd say it wasn't really 50 because over those 50 years, we've run 34 campaigns together. She says she counts the years that have a campaign like dog years, and so we've actually been married a lot longer than that. First of all, on behalf of Mike Crapo, I couldn't have a better partner in the United States Senate. No delegation votes closer than we do. In the 10 years I've been there, we have cast thousands of votes, and the numbers, I think 2 or 3 of them we voted differently on. One was a mistake. But the rest of them, what we do is we get together before the vote, every vote, and hash it out. We do disagree sometimes. A lot of them are pretty easy since we both know Idaho pretty well how to vote. But we give and take and get to where we're going to deliver 2 votes for Idaho, not like a lot of these states where every vote that they take, one votes one way and the other votes the other. Russ, where are you? Love you, man. Welcome. We're glad to have Russ Fulcher on the team. He's going to be a great addition. You're going to love Russ, and we're already pulling the wagon together pretty well. If Vicki were here, the last thing she'd have done when I got up was kick me on the table and say, "Don't forget to thank people." And on behalf of myself, and on behalf of Mike Crapo, and I know on behalf of Russ, we want to thank you Republicans for being who you are and what you are, because it makes our job a whole lot easier knowing that you have our backs here in Idaho. We truly, truly appreciate that. Look, a lot of states don't have that kind of support, like the kind of support that we do have here in Idaho. And for that, we are forever grateful. Precinct committeemen, stand up. It's the first job I ever had in the party. It was the best job. Thank you. Stand up so we can thank you for what you did. This speech, fortunate for you, is going to be a lot shorter than what it was because my message today, 2 messages I have. I'll end with one, but I'm going to tell you this right now. This is a great time to be a Republican. And I was going to take you through all the reasons why, but your chairman has already done that. Look, I'm a lot older than most of you here in the room. I won't live again to see a time of prosperity like we have in America today, with the unemployment that we have, with consumer vision as good as it is today and as prosperous as it is today. And the one statistic I think you missed was that as of the tick of midnight on December 31st, America became the largest producer of crude oil in the world, passing Saudi Arabia and passing Russia. That was not an accident. And it wasn't because our new Green Deal friends on the other side were promoting oil by any stretch. It was because your president and because the United States Republican Congress ratcheted back all of the rules, or the vast majority of them, that had been placed on the oil and gas industry during the 8 years of the Obama administration. Isn't it amazing and what magic can happen when you turn the free enterprise system, the free market loose? It is amazing what they will do, and they did it for America again. Look, just a couple of closing thoughts here. Today, in Washington, D.C., everything is about Donald Trump. And I've almost quit doing TV interviews. The cable start calling us on Mondays. They want me every week to do the Sunday shows. I won't do them. I do very, very little of the interviews anymore. And always we negotiate the what's going to be talked about, because look, it's all about Donald Trump. If you turn on the cable TV, and I don't recommend you do, but if you do, or if you pick up the New York Times or the Washington Post, which again I don't recommend that you do, it is all about how badly they can demean him. How bad can they make him look? I said, I've done this all my adult life. I have never seen a human being who has drawn the hate and the vitriol and the bitterness of the other side. The Democrats feel that way, and the national media is the exact same way, and it is disgusting. This is the President of the United States we're talking about. This is a man who did all the things that the chairman had listed. Do you know if Barack Obama would have done half of those things, they'd have been insisting that his head was the fifth head on Mount Rushmore. I sat and listened to the president tick off his successes, and he likes to tick off his successes, by the way. And our friends on the other side sat on their hands. And one of the saddest things I saw was when he ticked off those two things about, we have historically the lowest unemployment of African American males in the history of the United States of America. And we all stood up and applauded, and our friends on the other side of the aisle sat on their hands. I mean, what is this? Unity. Reverend, you talked about unity. Boy, you got a lot of work to do, believe me. I mean, if you can't get them to appreciate that, I don't know how this works out. As you pointed out, the lowest unemployment in history for all Hispanic people in the United States. Again, we all stood and applauded, the other side sitting on their hands. What do you got to do? I mean, this man is hated so bad, they will say and do anything to demean him. Now, what's he like? It's no secret that he and I get along pretty well and become relatively close. So I can tell you that he is in persona. His personal persona is nothing like his public persona. These guys think they're getting to him. This guy loves this stuff. I mean, in the morning he gets up and looks at his. I think he gets up so early because he's looking forward to the first time he's got to deal with the press that day. And thank goodness he's like that. You know, I'm on the Intelligence Committee. I'm on the Foreign Relations Committee. I have never felt better while I've been in the United States Senate than I do about Donald Trump being President of the United States. When he's sitting across the table from Kim Jong-un, or he's sitting across the table from those yahoos from Iran, and they're looking into his eyes, they know, because it's easy to see when you're with them, they're not dealing with Barack Obama anymore. There's a new sheriff. We can all agree he's different than any president we've ever had. And he does things differently. And that's not all bad. He's learned to manage the way he manages. Everybody's heard about the turmoil in the White House, or the chaos in the White House. You know, I get up there regularly, just about every week. I'll tell you, if there's chaos up there, those people are the best actors I've ever seen, because they're sitting at their computers doing their jobs. He does have a higher turnover, but that's the way he works. That's the way he worked in business. I run my shop just the opposite. I've got the lowest turnover of anybody on Capitol Hill. It's just the way I like to do business. But he likes doing business like this. And he has people around him that he listens to. And you can talk with this guy. I've had the privilege of knowing every president of the United States, starting with Ronald Reagan, to a greater or lesser degree. I knew H.W. besides Donald Trump. I know H.W. the best because I was chairman of his campaign here in Idaho, so Vic and I got to travel with him nationally. Kind of a fun guy to be around. You can't hold a candle to this guy. This guy's fun to be around, okay? And interesting to be around. And you can talk to him. When you talk to other presidents, they'd sit there, they'd nod their head, but they didn't engage. With Donald Trump, when you have a conversation with him, you have to talk about a lot of subjects. Okay, that's just the way it works. But in any event, you'll get something out. You'll make about 2 sentences or 3 sentences, and he'll just interrupt you and say, "Oh, baloney," or something stronger. And then you defend yourself, and you go, and you have an actual exchange back and forth. People say, "Well, you must agree with the president a lot if you're such good friends with him," and I do agree with him a lot. But you'll be surprised to hear that we disagree on some things. Vicky and I even disagree on some things. But you can actually persuade him. Sometimes you can move him a little bit. Sometimes you can move him a lot. Sometimes you can't move him at all. But you actually do have an exchange with him. He does not surround himself tightly with staff and Secret Service like every other president. Every other president I've been around, they're always hovering around, taking notes and all that. With this guy, if you go up to the Oval Office, chances are, if you're just having a meeting with him, you'll sit there one-on-one. Had lunch with him a couple months ago. It was just one-on-one, and the access is absolutely incredible. If I pick up the phone right now and dial the number, well, it's a little late, but 50% chance he'd answer the phone, and if not, the operator would answer the phone, and he'd call back rather quickly. Right on the day before the State of the Union, I called up. I had a question on foreign relations matter. I was going to give the response to the response, and so I called up. I said to the operator, I said, "Can I speak to Mildred, please?" "Mildred, you want to know? She's the lady that sits outside the office." I was going to ask her to ask him a question, give him a note, and ask him a question. And so I called up. I said, "Is Mildred?" And she says, "Well, who's calling?" I said, "Well, this is Jim Risch." So just a minute, Senator, I'll get her on the phone. She comes back on. She says, "Well, I'm sorry. Mildred isn't at her desk. But, well, the president's here. Do you want to talk to him?" So I had this short little question for the president. 20 minutes later. Anyway, that's just the way he is. When you're around him, he engages like a normal human being. And the media calls it not very presidential. And I guess if you judge him by all the other stiff presidents, he isn't very presidential in that regard. But like I said, he enjoys engaging. Vic and I had the occasion. I'll tell you one more story, then I'll quit. Vic and I had the occasion in December. I took my grandson was in town, and I called up and I said, "Hey, I want to bring my grandson up and get a picture with the president." So Vic and I and my grandson went up there. He's 15 years old. And went up to the White House and got there. It was Friday afternoon. It was kind of quiet. And so I went up to the office. They said, "Well, he's not here yet. He's coming back from Kansas City. But why don't you go downstairs and meet him? The helicopter comes in. The helicopter comes in." So we went downstairs, and the helicopter landed. The media was there shouting out rude and disgraceful questions to him, like they always do. He does enjoy engaging with them, but he doesn't always. In this particular occasion, he was thinking about it. You know, he's walking towards where we were staying. We were inside, the door we were closed. I'm staying with Sarah Sanders, and she and I were both saying, don't stop, don't stop. Anyway, he waved to him and said, that's good, that's good. But anyway, he didn't stop, and they opened the doors and said, "Oh, Jim, how are you? What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I want to get a picture here with Jake." "Oh, fine, come on upstairs." So we went up to the Oval Office, sat around for half an hour. This is the President of the United States, sat around for half an hour talking. Some about issues, some about Jake. "Jake, what are you doing?" You know, and he gave him some advice. Some of it was good. And in any event, after about half an hour, I said, "Look, I'm sorry, we've got to go. We had tickets to see Christmas Carol that night, which is a great performance here in D.C." And I said, "But that's okay. I'll see you tomorrow." And he said, "Oh, are you going up to the game?" I said, yeah, Vic and I and Jake are going to go up to the game tomorrow. And this was the Army-Navy game up in Philadelphia. And so he said, oh, I'm good. He says, how are you getting there? I said, well, we're going to take a train. And he said, well, why don't you ride with me? And I said, now this is how spontaneous he is. Every other president, everything is mapped out, who sits where, you know, what time. And I am not exaggerating on that. The staff just keeps them tight, not him. And he said, well, why don't you fly with me? I said, no, we'd rather take the train. You know, I mean, we're really train. No, that's not true. So the next morning, we trooped up to the White House and went out to Andrews Air Force Base and got on Air Force One and just hung with him for the day. And it was amazing watching that. You know, he came on the plane after we did and we sat down, and you don't buckle up on Air Force One. You know, I mean, it's a pretty smooth ride. You don't need to buckle up. But in any event, so we got there, and just to tell you, just to show you what he's like, we went to about a half a dozen skyboxes. Most of you have been in skybox. Very tight, a lot of people packed. Spent the same amount of time on the Army side as on the Navy side. But in any event, there's 50 people in those boxes, not vetted, you know, and he walks around shaking hands with people, taking pictures, engaging, conversations going on. Secret Service is there, but always way in the background. This guy is very different than any president that I've been around. We came down from the elevator on one of those, and we were traveling around a little caravan of golf carts, and Jake and I and Vicky were sitting in the golf cart, and he comes down the elevator, the golf cart's sitting here, and he gets in by himself, and he looks over, he says, Jim, we doing okay? I said, yeah, this is great day, thanks for bringing us. He says, Jake, how you doing? You doing all right? Jake says, oh yeah, I'm doing good. And he says, and so I shoved Jake out. I said, go sit with the president. He grabs him and he brings him into the golf cart. Off we go, and here's Jake and the president jabbering. 15-year-old kid, okay. Pretty soon I see him looking at this group over here, and the president was pointing, he's showing Jake. So we stopped. I said, what was that all about? He said, did you see that group back there? And I said, yeah. And he says, and it was all cadets, you know, in uniform. They were standing at attention because the commander-in-chief was going by. By the way, that is a heady experience going to the Army-Navy game with the commander-in-chief. You think this crowd loves Donald Trump? You should be at the Army-Navy game where these guys are ready to die for him. Anyway, to conclude the story, he said, did you see those guys? And he said, those are the injured guys. He says, those guys they played all season, and now they don't get to play in this game. He said, they all got hurt. And he says, Jake, you play football? And Jake says, oh, no. He says, don't ever play football. That was a good piece of advice. Well, anyway, America needs this Republican Party more than they have ever needed us before. I wish everyone here could stand in my shoes back in Washington, D.C. for a day or two. You know, I'm getting to be, I guess my kids would say I already am, an old man. I never thought I would see socialists elected to the United States Congress. And you think they're joking? These people mean business. They really mean business. This country needs us, Republicans, more than they've ever needed us before, because like the president said in his State of the Union, America will never be a socialist country, not as long as, I would add, there's a Republican Party. God bless you all for what you do. Thank you.